I'm Jupiter Optimist Maximus. I was thinking about doing a picture collage like I usually do on something of this matter, but I think just trying to explain it outright would do good enough. And I want to point my finger at, kind of what's going on, but staying on a accountability religious topic, right? So why is it that when either you have biblical Jewish characters calling themselves the men of God, the upright, right? Okay, you understand? Moses, Samson, David. Three examples. Let me go over those three, then I'll go over who I'm talking about currently, Mr. President here, okay? So, the upstanding Moses, right? He was a murderer. He murdered an Egyptian in cold blood. He stole from the Pharaoh, stole all the gold as he left in the storyline. A murderer and a thief. Oh, we're just going to excuse that because he's a great man of God. Samson. The strong man, the knockoff of Hercules, right? He slayed 1,000 men with the jawbone of a donkey for a bet so that he could have the tunics. A murderer that took a gamble. But he's a man of God. A liar, lying to his family about Delilah, lies to Delilah how many times? So he's not a truth bearer. He's a liar. When he finally did admit his weakness to Delilah, you have that issue. But a murderer and a liar, just like Moses, a murderer and a liar, a thief. Says, I can't speak well and I can't do this well, but yet somehow you wrote the first 5 books of the Bible when you're a bumpkin. Okay? David. Everybody knows David, so there's this issue too where David disobeyed his elderly brother. His elder brother told him go back to the farm or go back to the sheep or whatever it was. He disobeyed that. He went to the king's tent, told the king his intentions and this, that, and the third. He wanted to go in the military, going to fight Goliath. King told him no. Told him go back to his brothers and do what they tasked him to do. He disobeyed his king. That's mutiny. That's a form of disobedience. So not only did he disobey his elder brother, which by their traditions that's a good punishment. Disobeying his king, that's another punishment. Stealing from the king's armory, which he did, which was the sling and the stones, since he was told by his king, no, you're not going in the military, you're going back to your family. But he stole from the armory. He's a thief. A murderer. We know that from Bathsheba's husband, who he sent out purposely to have fall on the field so he could have the lust of his loins. There's quite a few things that are going on here to even talk about with all three of these people's stories. But when you look at the president's story, the same man of God, told by God, a con artist, a convicted rapist. It looks like he's going to be convicted of being a chomo. It looks like it. An evil man. But these evil men, are the apple of God's eye. The true-hearted souls of the would-be, wannabe pathetic God that these Christians serve, man. It's like the more evil the individual is, the more they're so-called closer to God. Has anybody ever noticed this? Or is it just, me, when after I, articulated this story to you, you're kind of now getting the, as I call it, God goggles, or the church lawyer syndrome out of your system, so you can actually see the story without a bias. It really helps when somebody's telling you the story and they're not trying to force cram BS in a look at this with an investigative lens without a bias. Look at it as you're a detective instead of a lawyer. Okay? You'll see what I'm saying. The more evil you are, the more closer you are to this God. And they say that this God is a good, holy, just one. No, it's evil and chaotic, just like the people who he chooses, I would suppose. If you're going off of theology, or you're just using the theological logic that I'm just kind of like presenting out here on this. I'm not saying that you have to be theological. Hell, you can be an anti-theist. You can be a non-theist or atheist, whatever. You can be however you want, but just try to look at it like, why is it that the more of a piece of crap a person is, they're more suggestively more Christian than anybody else? Just food for thought. Y'all have a nice day.